You grow up in a house where nobody talks about the future because Friday isn't paid for yet. This is North St. Louis, 2009. The freight trains roll past at the end of the block, carrying coal and timber to cities you can't afford to visit. In your neighborhood, the only thing that moves is the shadow of the overpass. That concrete ceiling that never lets you forget exactly where you belong. Your father is a day runner. He stands in the parking lot of a hardware store at 5 a.m., hoping a contractor needs a back to break for $60 cash. He is a man of heavy silences and cheap ibuprofen. Your mother cleans rooms at a hotel downtown. The lobby is imported marble. The service elevator is a metal box that smells of bleach and minimum wage. She brings home half-used bottles of hotel lotion. Your bathroom shelf is fully stocked, provided you don't mind smelling like a traveling salesman. You share a mattress with your brother until you are 15. You both know exactly which broken springs to avoid if you want to keep your kidneys intact. The wall between your room and the hallway is thin enough to hear your father's knees pop when he takes off his work boots. It is the sound of a man who has nothing left to give but his presence. You are not underprivileged. You are mathematically trapped. You watch the corner store owner charge a 30% markup on bread because he knows nobody on the block has the gas money to drive to the supermarket. You realize that being poor is an expensive habit you didn't choose. You are sharp, annoyingly sharp. Your math teacher, Mr. Henderson, a man who hasn't smiled since the mills closed in 1998, tells you that you ask questions nobody your age asks. He means it as a warning. You hear it as a distance measurement. How far you already are from the overpass, how much further you have to climb to clear it. You read about infrastructure economics while other kids watch sports. Not the theory, the plumbing, how the world actually connects, where the friction lives. Why does it cost $15 to send $100 to a mother in another country? By 18, you understand liquidity settlement better than the men in the high-rise offices you can see from your roof. That knowledge just sits there, making you angry. You watch your father's back finally give out on a Tuesday. The contractor doesn't call. Nobody talks at dinner. There's nothing to say. It's 2025. You are 22. You are in a studio apartment in a transitioning part of Chicago. Here, the coffee is $7, but the air is mostly car exhaust. You're a dropout because you realize the university was teaching you to become an employee, and you wanted to become the infrastructure. You've built a script. It's not an app. It doesn't have a logo. It's a protocol. You notice that the payday loan industry and the global remittance market are both running on code written before you were born. When a guy in North St. Louis borrows $200 to fix a radiator, or a migrant worker sends money home, the system eats 15% in fees because the middleman banks don't trust each other. You write a code called the leveler. It uses a high-speed liquidity bridge to settle microtransactions in 400 milliseconds. It bypasses the clearinghouses. It breaks a transaction into 1 million digital pieces, routes them through different servers, and reassembles them instantly. You charge a fee of 1/50th of a cent. You launch it on an open-source forum on a Saturday. You have $11 in your account and a headache that won't quit. You go to sleep on a couch that is mostly a pile of laundry. You wake up Monday and the internet is panicking. A global neobank in London found the code. Then, a retail giant in Brazil. They realized that by using the leveler, they could save $3 million a day in settlement fees. They didn't ask for permission. They just plugged in. By noon, your server is crashing. By 3 p.m., you check the accumulated fee wallet. $1.2 billion. You didn't pitch. You didn't hustle. You just built a better pipe, and global commerce started routing through your laptop. You are a billionaire before you've brushed your teeth. The arrival doesn't feel like a celebration. It feels like a kidnapping. Within 6 hours, 2 black SUVs idle outside your apartment. These aren't the police. These are private risk management. When you have $1 billion, you become a national security asset. You are moved to a penthouse on the Gold Coast. It's a kind of place where air is filtered until it's flavorless. The silence around is so thick, it makes your ears ring. You stand at the floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at a city that doesn't know you exist. The hunger in your chest expands. You buy your parents a house, a place in the suburbs with a gate and a beautiful lawn. You think this is the moment. This is the exhale your father has been waiting for since 1985. It's not. Your mother sits in the marble kitchen, looks at the 12-burner industrial stove, and decides to microwave leftovers. She still drives 40 minutes back to the old neighborhood to buy groceries because she knows the cashiers. You realize you didn't save her. You took her out of the only world where she knew how to be useful. Your father is worse. You give him a black card with no limit. He uses it only once to buy a new set of heavy-duty wrenches. Then he goes back to the hardware store parking lot. Not to work, but just to stand there in the 5 a.m. chill. To be near the men who still have a reason to be exhausted. You realize hunger wasn't just about the money, it was the identity. Without the friction of the struggle, your family is just a group of bored people sitting in expensive chairs. You try to find someone who doesn't see the B. You go to a dive bar in a part of town where the neon sign is flickering and the floor is sticky with spilled beer. You meet Mia. She's a social worker who spends her days fighting the payday loan companies your protocol just revolutionized. She is tired. She is angry. And she is the most real thing you've touched in years. For 3 weeks, you are Marcus, the freelance IT guy. You eat at greasy diners. You walk through the park until your legs ache. You talk about how the system is rigged. The hunger feels like it's finally being fed. You are connecting. Then, you take her back to her place. Her radiator is knocking. It's Mia's landlord. He has just checked out. You look at it and think you could buy this entire building. You could buy this entire block and fix every pipe in an afternoon. The thought is a disease. You realize you can't just be with her. You are constantly calculating her pain points and how many seconds of your protocol's fees it would take to solve them. You aren't her boyfriend, you're a deus ex machina. Eventually, the Iron Gate security team finds you. They tell you that your unauthorized movement has created a gap in your kidnapping insurance. They speak to you in front of her. She looks at the men in suits, then at your shoes, the $1,200 simple sneakers, and she gets your truth. "You're the leveler guy," she says in a flat, cold voice. "I'm still me," you try to explain. "No," she says. "You're the guy who made the machine run smoother for the people who own the machine. You didn't break the toll booth, you just made the tolls invisible." She doesn't ask for a check, she just asks you to leave. You realize that your wealth has made you toxic to the truth. It's 2026. You are 23. You are sitting in a boardroom on the 80th floor. Across from you are the lords of the friction, the CEOs of the banks you supposedly disrupted. They aren't fighting you anymore. They've absorbed you. They explain that the leveler is now the backbone of the global settlement layer. If you turn it off, the economy of 3 developing nations collapses. If you change the fee structure to help the poor, the pension funds of 5 million teachers take a hit. You are a chief strategy officer. It's a golden cage. You have $1 billion, but you can't change a line of your own code without a vote from 12 guys who look at you like a profitable accounting error. You spend your days in meetings about compliance and market penetration. You wear the suits. You speak the language of net positive impact, while the numbers on the screen tell a different story. The hunger is still there, but now it just makes you sick. You realize that the system didn't mind you winning. It loves a rags to riches story. It uses you to tell the kids back in North St. Louis that if they just code hard enough, they can be like you. You are the lotto ticket they show the people who will never win. You fly back to St. Louis. You don't go to the new house. You go to the old block. You sit on the overpass, looking down at the freight trains. The windows in the old house are boarded up now. The hardware store is a Dollar General. The overpass is covered in graffiti you don't recognize. You see a kid, maybe 14, sitting on a milk crate near the tracks. He's got a burner phone and a notebook. He's counting the cars on the train. He's looking for the friction. You walk down to him. You're wearing your identity erasure clothes, but he sees you. He sees the way you walk, like someone who doesn't have to worry about the police. You looking for something? He asks. I'm looking for the end of the line, you say. He laughs. It's a sharp, dangerous sound. There is no end, just more track. You want to tell him that the leveler didn't solve the problem. You want to tell him that money is a wall that doesn't have a door, but you don't say anything. The train is coming. The 440 freight. It's loud, heavy, and shaking the ground. You realize that the hunger is the only real thing. The arrival is a lie. The billion is a ghost. You reach into your pocket and find a dented quarter, the kind of change you haven't carried in 2 years. You put it on the track and wait for the train to crush it. You want something to change shape. You want to see something break. The train rolls over the quarter, 100 cars of coal and timber. When the train passes, you look for the coin. It's gone. It didn't break. It just got pushed deeper into the gravel. The static returns. The low hum of a life completely optimized into boredom. Somewhere, a server blinks. A transaction clears. A decimal point moves. The door is about to open. It always does. Liked this story? Help us grow. Subscribe to the channel and like the video. Each one counts. See you soon on the next. Stay tuned.